What is going on, everybody? Hope everyone's doing well. Back at it again with Late Night Stories number 3 here on the Essential Question podcast. This isn't a podcast, it's a late night story. Um, I know you guys have enjoyed the last two. I've gotten some really positive comments. I appreciate it. It's kind of my first adventure back into writing, which is really nice. I know the stories aren't necessarily like, crazy shit or anything. I feel like they're just little moments within life, which I reflect back on and kind of write into a story format. I I didn't have like a crazy childhood or a crazy, high school experience or anything growing up. But I feel like a lot of kids are like me in that they just kind of grew up with, you know, normal experience, the normal quote unquote experiences. And of course, everybody's got a twist. Everyone's got a story, but this is kind of, the little stories, the ones that, people forget about and the moments that people forget about. And I feel like that's kind of been the purpose of this segment, is just to reflect on those little times in our lives where we, reflect positively on these events. So without further ado, here we go into Late Night Stories number 3. This one's called The School Play. You'll see why. And this takes place when I was in high school. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. All right, let's get into this one. Everyone has an excuse. You know that time when you really want to get out of the house because there's that huge rager going on at Jessica's? Or that time when there's a date that you're having, but you don't want your parents to find out you're going on a date. You just need an excuse. You need some sort of excuse. Everyone has to tell their parents something so that they get off your back, especially when it comes to them asking questions about your whereabouts. We all had that excuse. Don't even try to lie to me. It may not have been to go to a party, but it may have been to do something. You just needed to get out of the house. My excuse was always the school play. I would always say that math class or English class or some class that I was struggling in was offering extra credit. And if I showed my ticket and sat through the play, I would get 5 extra points on my test. I would then reveal to my parents my horrific report card in one particular class, and they were suddenly convinced that I needed to go to the school play in order to save face when it came to pre-calculus. And they would offer to drive me out of the house into the school auditorium parking lot, and they thought that I was going to be sitting there for 2.5, 3 hours watching Macbeth, watching Les Mis, having an educational experience. But little did they know, as the champagne bronze Acura MDX zoomed off into the distance, another car from another friend would pick me up. And, well, we wouldn't go to the school play, to say the least. Sorry, Mom and Dad. It wasn't like I was, partying or on substances all the time. Well, on a couple occasions. Yeah, you got it. There was a couple times I was, sure. But most of the time it was cruising around the South Bay suburbs at the twilight hour of 6:30 or 7 o'clock, talking with a friend about the latest hit music that was on, playing on aux, while we just kind of talked about classes and life. For me, there was always, and there is always, this magic to the suburbs, particularly around the South Bay. They have their own charm to them. It's a land with not a lot going on, but if you look a little closer and you look a little deeper, there's a whole movie right in front of you. Driving past Indian grandfathers taking a walk, probably reflecting on their last visits with family and their last days on Earth, while their grandkids stress over the same math exam that I'm trying to get the A on. Watching the Asian mom yell in Cantonese outside her house at the little kid who forgot his lunchbox at school for the 3rd day in a row. The occasional high school kid that would, be walking across the street who was either too faded or too baked to click the button to cross the road. So he's attempting to jaywalk, but that more than likely turns into a run when he sees a car coming and breaks out of his high stupor. These are the sights and sounds of a Bay Area spring suburban day. Well, spring suburban night to be exact. There would always be your occasional old couple that would be sitting out on the porch on a Friday or a Saturday on one of these beautiful Bay Area spring nights where the sky is absolutely a perfect orange and the weather doesn't even teeter beyond 70 degrees. It's absolutely perfect. The couple would have a nice bottle of Merlot or maybe a little white Chardonnay in there, and they would just sit on the porch, watching out into the quiet neighborhood, maybe having a little conversation with the occasional car just hovering by, having a great time. It's one of those moments that sticks in my head. It's an image that has always been in my mind. That's a moment that isn't forced. It's just right. As the kids say these days, it be hitting different though. Haha, see what I did there? Then, of course, there were the days where, well, me and my friends were teenagers. We had a little bit of fun, if you know what I mean. Don't get me wrong, the suburbs are great, but we had to have our fun too. Come on now. Getting high in the car, laughing at the stupidest jokes, and picking up McDonald's before I'd get dropped back to the high school parking lot where I would wait for what seemed like an endless amount of questions coming my way about the various school play that I'd lied to my parents that I was going to go see, and me looking up the synopsis of the play, trying to let my high wear off while at the same time trying to figure out what this play that I supposedly was supposed to be going to was about. And keep in mind, I was also smelling like a Febreze can because that was our solution to, you know, not getting high or to protecting against the scent of getting high. But this story isn't about me lying to my parents or doing non extra credit related activities, to say the least, but it's about the school play. The night This night started out like any other of those nights where I needed to get out of the house. My friends asked if I wanted to go drive around and do something, and I said I was down. I set the school play trap to my parents, and it worked. So the drive to the high school was pretty uneventful, and I was dropped off at the steps of the auditorium and told my dad to pick me up around 11. The usual took place. The plan was in place, and all I had to do was wait for a friend's car to pull up to the curb. But then I looked inside the auditorium and saw people of all ages just so excited to go inside, talking high school kids, adults, little siblings, and I suddenly looked like the kid who was missing out on all the fun. Ironic, right? After watching a few people excitedly walk into the auditorium with chatter getting louder and louder, I got a text from my friend that said he needed to bail. I sighed. I had a few hours to kill, and, well, let's be honest, I wasn't about to tell my dad that the play was canceled and go home, so I decided to give my excuse a shot. I bumped into a couple of classmates of mine in line, and they were excited to see another mutual acquaintance of ours perform. I got into the theater and took a seat, and really had no idea about what to expect. It had been a while since I'd been to a play. I wasn't super mad that I had got to go to the play or anything. More so disappointing that a friend of mine had flaked on me in the last minute. But trust me, I got flaked on many a time in high school and beyond. This, however, was the best I ever felt after getting flaked. 10 out of 10. And that was because of this play. I don't remember what the play was about, or who even acted in the play, or really when it even was. What happened in those next 2 hours had to be one of the coolest things that I had really witnessed. I had acted in a few plays in middle school, but it had been years since I had watched a play. And I have to tell you, it's one of the coolest experiences that I've ever had, especially watching it after a really long time. It felt like I was in a live movie, and I was just a background character watching all of the action happen. Again, I can't remember what the play was about for the life of me, but the actors and actresses graced the stage like they were professionals. And I kid you not, there were moments of that play where I forgot that they were even high school students. I thought I was in a professional stadium. There was no glam or really any special effects like you see at these Broadway productions, but it was a lot of characters talking about real life shit and expressing complicated themes and emotions through these characters that they were playing. It was fascinating. I was glued to my seat. The thoughts of getting high and eating McChickens in the parking lot were well past me, and this almost felt like the best high I could have ever had. I was watching a live action movie. That's all I could think throughout the whole process. I looked around the dimly lit auditorium and it looked like everyone was transfixed to the stage like me. No one could stop staring. No one checked a phone. No one looked down. The stage had the attention of every soul in the room. It almost felt like it was the perfect show. The play eventually ended to a standing ovation, and even though I didn't partake in the play, I felt as though I was a part of it. I had become a fabric of the actors and the actresses, and I felt like I'd learned something about each and every one of them through this play. I eventually went over to all the actors and actresses after the play was done and heartily congratulated them on a fantastic performance. After all, they had given me this amazing experience. I couldn't wait for the weekend to end. I wanted to tell all of my friends about this awesome experience that I had. The amazing high that I got watching literally kids at our own school just take on the roles of full grown adults so beautifully. It was weird. I never thought I could feel this way after watching a play. I literally wanted to go to every single school play after that. I saw the beauty in it. I saw this art form that just was awesome. And the first thing when school started on Monday, I excitedly dapped up a friend and was about to tell him. He, though, was the first one to talk in the conversation. So sorry I had to bail a couple nights ago, man. Had a lot more chem homework than I thought I would have. Hopefully y'all were able to get a ride home and stuff. All good, bro. I actually went to the school play. It was really cool. You actually went to that fucking garbage? Theater kids just want all the fucking attention. All they do is hook up with each other and they're pretty freaking useless. It's a fucking stupid thing, bro. I stared blankly. I wasn't necessarily expecting there to be such a harsh reaction to this statement, but nonetheless, I moved on and pretended like nothing happened, and the conversation continued on in the hallway. Another friend bumped into us as we were on the way to our respective classes, and I smiled, looking down at my phone. He talked to my other friend. Yo, bro, that party on Saturday night, bro, was fucking insane, dude. That friend that flaked on me looked at me in awkwardness and didn't know what to say. It was clear that he fucked up, but didn't want to admit it. As I walked into English class, I looked at him and thought to myself, that play was better than any fucking high school party I could have ever gone to. That statement holds up several years after that play took place. I went to even more plays when I was in college, and having friends in that theater program just showed me how amazing it was that I got to watch them perform and just have the time of their lives on stage. I have never participated in the theater after the eighth grade, but as someone who is an avid fan of plays and an avid fan of the theater, here's a little word of advice. The theater is best consumed with a little bit of devil's lettuce beforehand. Turns out there is a way that you can have both experiences in one. That's my story. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you guys did, hit it with the like. If you're on YouTube, hit me with the follow. If you're on Spotify, subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoy more of this type of content. Comment down below what your favorite part was if you guys could relate. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Honestly, these are just fun little stories I write. Nothing crazy, it's not like crazy life-shattering events or anything, but this was, just a fun one that I, was thinking about a couple days ago and I decided to just write it down. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was a lot of fun to kind of reminisce on those times in your life. And yeah, that's all I have for you all today. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, night, afternoon, whenever. And I'll see you. All right. Have a good night. Peace.